we'll all get together and together we will recite all the slokas that we learned like a chorus singing. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
So we'll all do those things. And when our children sees and other devotees see, they'll become envious of you. I'll give it in writing. Okay. Okay, good. So today we're going to teach. So we are yet to start the Canto 1 of Bhagavatam. We'll start in a week or two. So just pause. Now, in the coming week, tomorrow there is no center program because one of our close Vaishnava families, they're going to go into wedding ceremony. So because of that, we're not having the center program. So please attend the wedding, all of you. Next week, what are we going to do is we may do 1 or 2 slokas from chapter 4, but we want to focus on deity worship. What is the perfect way of deity worship? What are the do's and don'ts? We're going to have practical demonstration at the center. So all of you, please come to the center next week. So you can not only see it, you can also practice it by your own self. Okay. So now, because we're going to do that next week, I want to pick slokas from Kapila Muni's instruction, which talks about perfection of deity worship. Okay, good?
Yes, Prabhu. Good, Prabhu.
So deity worship has 2 components. The first component is the methods and procedure. The second is the consciousness, the mood. So it is not about offering incense sticks, pancharati, flowers, chamara, peacock feather, whatever it may be. It's not about just that. It is also the mood and the bhava that you have in your consciousness. Let's say you fight with your spouse, okay, for example, then you are in that virya ras now. So at that time you come and perform deity worship. Is it correct? Is it an offering to Krishna? That's what we're going to learn today. So, preparing our consciousness for deity worship is the most important aspect of our bhakti journey. Okay? So, I picked up the sloka from Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6. So, this is a very famous sloka. We'll also mug up this sloka. Okay? Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Yato bhakti radhokshaje. Ahaituki apratihata. Yatma suprasidati. Okay, now let's do the meaning. All of you, please mute. Sa, that. Why? Certainly. Pumsam, for mankind. Parha, sublime. Dharma, occupation, occupational duty. Yataha, by which. Bhakti, devotional service. Adokshaje, onto the transcendence. Onto the transcendence means one of the form of the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Adokshaja. Okay. Ahaituki, causeless. Apratihata, unbroken. Yaya, by which. Atma, the self. Suprasidati, completely satisfied. Okay, now let's read translation by Srila Prabhupada. The supreme occupation, dharma. What is supreme occupation? One's prescribed duty that is performed unattached, performed without expectation of rotative result, performed without control over it, and performed just for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord is called supreme occupation dharma. Okay. For all humanity. That means, which is that occupation that all the men can attain loving devotion. So what is that loving devotion service? Exchange of rasabhav between bhakta and the Lord. So the relationship between bhakta and the Lord
We can't hear.
What is not clear?
No, couldn't hear for some time.
Is it so with others?
No, Prabhu, we could hear it.
Okay, start.
Then you have to check your settings.
Yes.
It is clear, Prabhu.
Okay, so there are three entities. Bhakta, Lord, the relationship is bhakti. Okay, so you have to figure out what is that which is universal to all the human beings that can offer loving service between that human being and the creator who is on the transcendental position. So that he defines as bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhakti is loving propensity demonstrated by the living entity for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Now he says, when that loving propensity exchanged between the bhakta and the Lord is not having any motivation. What is motivation? Lord, I want to do this bhakti so that I get a return benefit from you. It can be anything. It can be, you please protect me. You please take care of my children. You please do this for me. Do that for me. All right? So instead of positioning the Lord as someone supreme, we are positioning the Lord as someone as subordinate to us. That's why we're telling. Just like how we tell our car driver, hey, please take all these things and keep it there. Please do this for me. Do that for me. Do this for me. Do that for me. Drive me here. Take me here. Like that, we're telling the Lord, oh Lord, please supply me this. Oh, please solve this problem for me. Oh Lord, do this for me. Oh, do that for me. That is called motivated. But bhakti is unmotivated. There is no expectation. The position of a bhakta as a dasya wants to serve that Lord who's the cause of all causes, who's the cause of his own creation, in an unmotivated manner. That is when pure love will manifest. Now, how long you should do, when you should do, the Shastra is telling the practice of this demonstration of loving service to the Lord must be done in a regular, uninterrupted, non-stopping manner. Oh, Prabhu, once in a year I get to this function, this festival no, called Deepavali. I'll do on Deepavali, that's all. Next Deepavali, till next Deepavali, no doing. Huh? Now imagine the Lord didn't supply oxygen for you for like 5 minutes. What will happen to us? So like that, Lord is showing his love for us uninterruptedly. So we should return back that in an uninterrupted manner. Okay, so let's summarize. There are three entities, the Lord, Bhakta, and the relationship between Lord and Bhakta is Bhakti. So these are the three entities. What is the duty of that living entity, or who's called Bhakta here, is to satisfy the Lord by loving service. The loving service should be unmotivated. What is unmotivated? Yes, I am performing devotion service, but there is no requirement. There is no something separate that I'm trying to do. There is no expectation from you, Lord. I'm doing it so that you're pleased. Okay? That is called unmotivated. What is uninterrupted? I will do it regularly. I'll do it consistently for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and nothing else. Now, when the devotee is performing an activity for the pleasure of the Lord, when that Lord is pleased, since the devotee is part and parcel of the Lord, every aspect of the life of the devotee is also pleased by the Lord. So that means you don't need to search for pleasure and happiness separately. When that Lord is satisfied, automatically you see your consciousness, your subconsciousness, your senses, everything is pleased. And your false ego comes down, you become very humble. And that's the power of bhakti. So that's why the Shastra says, Yayatma suprasidati. The Atma, the self, is completely satisfied when he performs this. So this is power of bhakti now. Now, how do you do bhakti? You do bhakti in many ways. You chant the holy name of the Lord. You perform bhakti by doing aratika ceremony in front of the deities. You glorify the Lord with nice kirtans. You glorify the Lord by glorifying his position through the great slokas. So this is what you do. Right? So we'll see that in the form of instruction from Kapila Dev. Okay. Now Devotee is asking many questions to Kapila Muni. So this is from Canto 3. The chapter is 29. So now, out of many questions that Devotee asked, Kapila Muni started to instruction Devotee, but these instructions were given not just to Devotee, to all the living entities of this world. So, we will now focus, that's one section of how to perform proper worship to the deities and the mood and the consciousness. Okay. 29.16. Maddishnya darshana sparsha
Madhyasnya darshana
puja stuti abhivandanai
puja abhivandanai
bhuteshu mad bhavanaya
bhuteshu madbhavanaya
satvena sangamena cha.
satvena sangamena cha.
Okay. Dishnya means statue. Okay. So here statue can exist in many forms, right? Statue can be a picture of the Lord. Krishna says mat dishnya, that means my statue. Okay. The statue can be in the form of a picture, or in the form of a vigraha, or in the form of shaligrama. All are acceptable forms of statue. It is not that picture means it's not a statue. No. Picture is also a form of statue. Okay. So Dishna means statue. Darshana is seen. Sparsha is touching. That means when you see the deities, you may see them with your eyes, you may touch them with your hands, and you may perform puja. Puja is to worship. How do you do worship? You do agarbatti and you circumambulate 7 times around the entire body of the Lord. That's puja. Okay. Then stuti. Stuti is to offer prayers. Right? So when you see Krishna in the morning, what do you say? Namashe Purusham Twadhyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param. That means you're Ishwara, beyond Prakriti, you're supreme, you're topmost. So like that. Param Brahma Parandhama Pavitram Paraman Bhavan. So like you see the Lord and say, hey, you are Param. Everything about you is Param. Your place, your name, your form, your guna, everything is Param. So like that. So that is called stuti. Offering wonderful prayers just for the pleasure of the Lord. Okay. Abhivandanai. Abhivandanai means what? Falling dandavats in front of the Lord. Completely flat. When you open the altar, when you offer these prayers, when the Lord is woken up. What is the meaning of Lord woken up? Woken up means he is ready to accept our offerings. Our offerings come in various forms. So the Lord is ready to accept our offerings. So now you did stuti, you did offer prayers. Now you're offering abhivandana. What's abhivandana? Immediately falling flat in front of the Lord. That is called offering obeisances. Then bhuteshu, whom does it apply to? To all the living entities who are part and parcel of the Lord. That's why it says bhuteshu mat. That means of me. They are part and parcel of me. Okay. Bhavanaya, with thought. Thought means, with the thought here refers to the right mood and consciousness. Okay. Now, what sort of right mood and consciousness? It says satvena. Satvena means the mode of goodness. So, what's the difference between ignorance, passion, and goodness? We'll see in the next sloka. Asangamena. Do it as a matter of duty. No attachment. Okay. Just like how parents take care of the children. They are not saying, okay, oh son, I'm paying your college fees so that you will take care of me in my retirement life. No, that's not parent. Son, I'm doing this for you, just for your welfare. And that is love. Okay? So, asangamena means with detachment. Oh Lord, I'm doing all these prayers, offering stuti, offering my obeisances, offering everything for you, just for your pleasure. And that is bhakti. Okay? So this is what it says. Now let's look at the translation. A devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple. That means you should go to the temple very often. Lord is saying, you should see the Archa Vigraha. So Lord is inviting you to the temple. Come to my place. See me. Right? So, visiting the temple is one of the angas of bhakti. Okay? Second, touch my lotus feet. When we see the picture of Krishna, what do? We touch his lotus feet. We touch his lotus feet and keep it on our head. My Lord, this is amazing. You will see in this pastimes many times. Right? Pastime of, let's say, Kavi Karnapuri. He brought his dumb son. Immediately Mahaprabhu inserted his toe into his mouth and he became, the dumbness, the birth defect of his went away, and then he became a glorious devotee. Why not that? Great acharyas, what do? When the disciples fall at the feet of the Acharya takes his leg and keeps it on his head. So these are all aspects of touching lotus feet. And offer worshipable paraphernalia. So, through our Shodashopachara, through our Pancharatrika Vidhis, the great Narada Muni and other great acharyas, they defined, okay, if it is temple, what is the standard and method of worship? If it is home deity, what is the standard and method of worship? They have defined what time you have to get up. What is the Shuddhi practices that you should do? What are the pranams that you have to take? External Shuddhi, internal Shuddhi. And then, what are all the offerings, step by step? And it is not only step by step, they have also given us timings, how much time each one should take to complete each step of offering. Right? So, for example, in our practice, what do? We get up in the morning, we first do external Shuddhi. What is external Shuddhi? Taking bath. Cleanse our body. Okay, finish all nature call, take bath. External is over. The internal Shuddhi. Internal Shuddhi is done by two methods. One, first is performing a Rachaman, then chanting the Gayatri Mantra, then chanting the Harina Mantra. So by doing these three, you are doing internal Shuddhi. Okay, now you are ready. Your body is ready. Your consciousness is ready. Your body is ready. What? To offer something to the Lord. Okay, then what do? You first wake up the deities to accept your offerings. When you wake up the deities to accept the offerings, you're requesting them by glorifying with a lot of wonderful slokas. The Lord is very pleased. Then what do? You offer a sweet. Probably Krishna has got a sweet tooth. That's why he is asking for sweets. So you offer a sweet. A sweet can be like a sweet rice, his favorite, milk sweet rice. That's his most favorite, with some saffron. When you offer it, don't see it as a burden. Belagge eddu nanu cook madbeka. Don't see it like that. See it as a love for the Lord. If sweet rice is difficult, what you can do? You can offer some nice fruits. Take a fruit, cut it into nice, small pieces. And then immediately after you open, after you wake him up, after you offer some slokas, immediately offer these cut fruits. Nicely decorate them. Make it attractive for the Lord to eat it. That attraction should be external and internal. External is nice arrangement. Internal is your love that you put into the fruit. Offer that fruits to the Lord. Then what do? Then you start performing Arati to the Lord. So, whatever sampradaya it may be, each sampradaya has their own prayers. That prayer is good enough. Right? So when you want to start singing Guru Ashtakam, you're offering nice incense sticks. Oh Lord, please accept nice incense stick. So that increases the fragrance of the altar room. The Lord is very pleased. So like that, you see, first we offer incense sticks, then we offer Pancha Arati, so that when we offer Pancha Arati, we can see the beauty of the Lord, his feet, his navel, his chest, his face. We can see them. So while you can see them, don't get the Arati very close to him. It's disrespect. Keep it at a medium distance and perform the Arati. Right? Then offer some water for him to drink. Then offer some nice fragrant flowers. I was just saying that today what flowers you get in the market, nothing is smelling at all. But you're supposed to offer flowers which are smelling to the Lord. So I was telling Gandharvika that let's buy some natural perfume and spray it on these flowers. And then perform the Arati. Because the objective is to offer flowers with fragrance, not flowers which are dull. Okay? So we'll offer some nice flowers to the Lord. Then we'll do offer whisking. Whisking will remove all the flies, insects, everything around, accumulate around the Lord, and it pleases him. Okay? Then we'll offer him nice fan. We put on the AC in the night. We put on AC everywhere. We put on fan everywhere for our satisfaction. Why not the Lord? That's personal touch. So do that. Peacock offering. That's called worshipable paraphernalia. Right? So you begin with external internal Shuddhi. After that, you offer some sweets. After that, you offer these other upacharas. And then you see the Lord is pleased. Right? And it says, offer worship paraphernalia and prayer. What does that prayer mean? You sing that prayer and you offer this paraphernalia. That's what we're doing. Right? We say, no? Shri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Shringara Tanmandiramarjanadav. See, that's the prayer you're offering. And while you're offering the prayer, you're also offering the paraphernalia. Okay. This is the procedural part of it. Now, the second part of the sloka deals with what is called as the consciousness. It says, he should see in the spirit of renunciation, not in the spirit of artha and enjoyment and kama. Right? So what is renunciation? Krishna, whatever you gave in your life is yours. I'm offering it back to you. Think about you as an instrument, not as a glorified person. So, in a detached mode, without expectation, you make these offerings. And you see your relationship with the Lord. You also see others who are also spiritual and transcendental in nature, but they're covered by their consciousness. That's their only problem. So, when you see them like that, the Lord will shower mercy on them also to open up their consciousness. Right? So, this is the key aspect. Now, I'm going to read only the first paragraph. Temple worship is one of the duties of a devotee. So, temple worship here refers to you go to a place where Archa Vigraha is placed. If the place is far away, you worship at your home by making this Archa Vigraha at home. That is called your altar room. Okay? It is especially recommended for neophytes. Neophytes means startups. But those who are advanced should not refrain from temple worship. Okay. There is a distinction in the manner of a devotee, a neophyte, and advanced devotee. Appreciate the Lord's presence in the temple. Neophyte considers Archa Vigraha, the statue of the Lord, to be different from the original personality of Godhead. He thinks that the statue is man-made, it is just for us to see. This is different from the real Lord. Real Lord is somewhere else. That's what a neophyte would understand. But an advanced devotee, what he will see? He will see the Archa Vigraha in the temple is the causeless mercy of the Lord. That means the Lord, when he expands, he does avatar, no? Krishna took avatar in many, many forms. He took as a tortoise, he took as a fish, he took as this, he took as unlimited avatars he took. One of the avatars of the Lord is the Archavigraha. That means the Archavigraha, the Pranaprishta, the deities that you see in the temple, is non-different from the Supreme Lord. So, how you should behave? Let's assume you went to temple and you saw the real Supreme Lord sitting there. What would you do dealing with him? The same thing you have to deal with the Archavigraha. That is the point here. You cannot see a difference between the original Lord and the Archavigraha. And Prabhupada says, this is called perfect vision. This is called perfect devotion. Right? So, whose devotion service is the highest stage of bhava or love of Godhead, whereas a neophyte worship in the temple is a matter of routine duty. So, this startup devotee, he will go to temple, but he will see nothing. He'll just eat some prasad and talk to people, sit for 2 minutes. He said, oh, my horoscope said I have to visit this deity. Like that he will say and he'll come out. That's all. Nothing else he will do. Just a second. Next week. So that is the difference between a Kanishta Adhikari and a Madhyam Adhikari. So let's conclude. Temple deity worship is one of the important core aspects of devotion service. One should visit the temples on a regular manner and perform his services. Other days when he's not visiting the temple, he should set up that at home and perform the same standards of worship at home. Yeah, is this clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Any doubts before we go to the next sloka?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in the morning, if we start doing all these Achamana and other things, will it not be late for our regular sadhana, Prabhu? Because at least we have to complete 12 rounds before the class starts at 6 o'clock. That's how we have planned. But suppose we start doing all these procedures, means there will be a delay in chanting the mantra, all these things. Is it all right, Prabhu?
It's all your calculation of chanting the rounds is not by 12 o'clock you should have completed your rounds.
That is in the afternoon you are telling, Prabhu?
No, noon 12, before 12, you're okay to complete your balance rounds, no problem.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So it is not that you have to do everything in the morning. So you can, if you get up at 4 o'clock, maybe 30-40 minutes, you can clean up yourself and you can chant for an hour. And then you can start your process of Achaman and things like your deity worship will take about an hour's time, starting from first to last step. So technically, you see about 2.5 hours, we are talking about from 4 o'clock, is about still 6:30 only. Even if you delay for something, it will be 7 and you can finish the balance rounds.
But we are generally attached to this family and other works, Prabhu, 1.5 hours.
So
That
you
will
should
delay.
do all those things after 8 o'clock.
Okay, Prabhu.
Morning 4 to 8, you do it for the Lord, including your
Exclusive.
and everything. Yeah. After 8, do all your family work, office work, and things like that.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Can we show agarbatti in the last, Prabhu, instead of the beginning?
Mataji, there are certain procedures laid out by rules of Shastra. Okay. What should be shown first and why?
Okay.
So it is recommended to please follow that procedure only. Okay. So
Yes.
we don't invent this procedure. This is given by Pancharatrika Vidhis and Shodashopachara. So we just follow that.
Prabhuji, some may get irritation or they won't get attached to that smell, Prabhu.
of that agarbatti.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in that case, what you can do, instead of showing 3, you light only 1 agarbatti. And the amount of time it takes from lighting to finish your 7 rounds is probably few seconds. After showing, don't keep the agarbatti in the altar room. Take it to a balcony or somewhere and then place it there. No problem.
No, okay. Thank you.
So
Thanks.
it is not mandatory. They should be inside the house, in the altar, nothing. After you show it, you can take it outside and keep it outside also. No problem.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. First we should do chanting or Mangalarati Prabhu.
Prabhu, it depends. You can take a morning program of 3 hours, 4 hours, like that, you pack it. Within that morning 4 hours, you do it either ways, is fine, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Now, I'm not talking about higher standards of devotion yet. When we are talking about higher standards of devotion, then you will see it has to be regulated. You know, what time you have to do Aarti, there is a fixed time. What time you have to do chanting. That is what you see in the temple. In a temple, let's see the procedure. Generally, temple devotees, they get about 4:15 to 4:30. That's what I've heard. So they would, I'm talking with reference to our temple. Okay. So they would get up, take their bath, and straight away come down to the temple hall. 5 o'clock, the pujaris, they open the altar. Songs of Samsara Dava, songs of Nishingarti, songs of Tulasarti is done, which should take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. 5:45, they start the chanting. Let's assume 1.5 hours for that matter. So 6:15, 7:15, they finish their rounds. You see, they got up, they finished their Aarti, they finished their chanting also by 7:15. And they have about 45 minutes for them to do some cleanup services or anything. 8 o'clock, they sit for Bhagavatam class. 8 to 9 is Bhagavad Katha, and after 9, they all go off to office. This is the procedure. You can try and adopt this in your house.
Okay, Prabhu.
Some people do chanting and then Aarti later on. No problem. Some people do Aarti first and do chanting later on. No problem. But your morning schedule must complete both. That's the point here. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to the next sloka. Are you okay? Okay. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter.
Prabhu, 2 slokas will do, Prabhu. It will do next class.
Yeah, you can only do the first, Mataji, you do this one, 1.2.6.
Yeah.
And this one alone. This is addition slokas to make you explain the understanding of the mode of devotions.
Okay. Okay.
19 and 29 is just a conclusive slokas, that's all. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we'll do 19. Maddharmano gunairetai
Mano.
parisham shuddha ashayah
Parisham Ashaya
purushasyan jashabhyate
Pushasyam
sutta matra gunam himam.
Sudha Matra Gunam Himam.
Okay, so now the sloka, the Shastra is telling what happens to this person who has understood this devotion service. What is it? Getting him in the morning, practicing deity worship, the mood of deity worship properly. This sloka is telling what happens to that person. Okay. Translation by Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. When one is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes and his consciousness is thus completely purified, Bhagavatam confirms that. He is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing my transcendental qualities. See, when you do these services in the morning, when you do this purification of yourself and offer them to the Lord, what happens to you? You get purified very quickly. You are no more disturbed by the modes of material nature. You'll always remain suprasidati. Yes. So, in such a condition, what happens to you? When you take your chanting bead and when you chant the holy name of the Lord, immediately you get attracted. Oh, I want to chant my rounds. I mean, that is very important for me. It is not from the point of rules and regulation. Oh, my Prabhuji has told I have to chant 16 rounds, otherwise I won't get initiation. No, not from that point of view. The point of view is attraction for the Lord, attraction for the holy name. So you see, Krishna says, he is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name. When you sit in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam class, when the speaker is speaking the glories of the Lord, his pastimes, his entourage, his activities, the devotees who are also characters of Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens to him? He simply gets attracted to that. He is attracted to the Lord in many, many ways. He loves. He wants to hear him more and more again and again. You see, such a devotee is regular to Srimad Bhagavatam class and is very attentive because he wants to get more and more and more of that. So this is what happens to a devotee who practices bhakti in the manner we talked about in the previous slokas. So now you can easily check for yourself. Is this happening to me? Am I getting taste for the holy name? Am I getting attracted to hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day? Does my heart say, let me chant more, let me hear more, let me read more? Does it say that? Or my heart says, no, I want to go and enjoy. I want to see this movie. I want to go to hotels and eat. I want to meet with my friends. I want to outing. I want to do clubs. Where is my consciousness? You reflect on yourself. What am I getting attracted to? And that is a litmus test or a measurement of where your purity on spiritual standards has taken you. Okay? So now, two things. What's the first thing? Krishna is saying, when someone does worship, like what we discussed in the sloka number 16, what happens to him? He gets purified. When he's purified of all the anarthas and kleshas, he is no more influenced by the modes of material nature. And that person, if you just tell him the holy name, Krishna, that's how he'll get immediately attracted. And he wants to chant more. He wants to recite more and more slokas of the Lord. And for him, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam means nourishing his heart. And that's what will happen to him. Okay? So, Kapila Muni is explaining to devotee. Now let's read the purport. Very interesting it is. In the beginning of his instruction, the Lord explained to his mother that Mat Guna Shruti Matrena, simply by hearing of the name, quality, form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is attracted so much. He wants to keep on hearing it, doing it again and again and again, nothing else. A person becomes fully qualified with all transcendental qualities by following the rules and regulations. What rules and regulations that we talked about in the 16th sloka? Okay. We have developed certain unnecessary qualities by material association. Because before coming here, get some water. Before coming here, we were having a lot of material activities. I want to be part of this club. I want to be part of that group, this friends association. I want to go here. I want to eat here. I want to buy this. Unwanted prajalpa, find fault with others. We have so many material attractions. So that gets purified. That's what the Lord says. By what? By just following the above process, we become free from that contamination. To develop transcendental qualities, as explained in the previous verse, one must become free from these contaminated qualities. So now Prabhupada has given two methods. One, as you get these material qualities, those attractions down, your spiritual transcendental attraction keeps on going down. And that becomes perfect stage for us to get liberated. This is what we need to do in our life. So, if you mix this with Varnashrama system, as a Grihastha, you learn all these things. During your Grihastha life, complete learn Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these things you completely learn. Know all the knowledge. Know the practices also. When you cross 60 years, take Vanaprastha and practice Mad Guna Shruti Matrena. You practice in this manner, you will see, you will attain the highest divine qualities within yourself. And you will transcend this material world at the time of death. That's it, simple. Yeah, so now let's look at the next sloka. This is the last sloka for the day. This is all, the last two slokas is for you to understand the benefit of what we learned in sloka number 16. Okay. This is from Canto 3, 29.29. Tatrapi sparsha vedibhyaha pravada rasha vedina tebhyo gandha vidashreshtas tatashaba vidovaraha. Translation. Among the living entities who have developed a sense perception, those who have developed sense of taste are better than those who have developed only sense of touch. Now he's talking about evolution of consciousness. Better than them are those who have developed the sense of smell. And better still are those who develop the sense of hearing. That means, look at it. Topmost is hearing. See, first is, we talk about sense perception. That means we are trying to use all our senses. Activate our senses. That's what the yoga teaches you. When you go do that physical yoga, yoga classes, they will teach you various exercises. Prabhuji, please do pranayama. It will activate your senses. That's what they will say. So that means they're still talking about the first one. Your senses must be active. Sense perception. Okay. Then you develop sense of taste. What is sense of taste? Oh, Prabhu, I came to ISKCON. You know why I love ISKCON? I just love the prasadam. See the first taste. Okay, you got at least attracted to prasadam rather than getting attracted to some nonsense food. Then sense of touch. Sense of touch is about the higher dimension, higher than the sense of smell. Then we develop the sense of smell is when we enter the temple, we see sometimes they offer nice fragrant oils, right? Especially for Nashim Chaturdasi and things like that. You see, the sense of nose, the nose as a sense organ is much more on a higher platform of activation. And better all these things is hearing. You use your ears to hear. Now, what does this mean is, it means that by hearing, which is the topmost senses, your activation of consciousness is the most beneficial. Right? So, just by hearing, someone may be blind, someone may be sitting, not doing activity, just by hearing, his consciousness can evolve so much that he can become a great devotee of the Lord. Right? These four senses is explained here. Okay, let's read this very quickly. Although Westerners accept that Darwin first expounded the doctrine of evolution, the science of anthropology is not new. The development of evolutionary process was known long before from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the Darwin's theory, right? monkeys, we human beings evolved from monkeys, okay, or specifically orangutans, which were written 5,000 years ago. There are records of statements of Kapila Muni, who was present almost in the beginning of creation. That means about several kalpas. Okay, forget kalpa. In this Chaturya, you can talk about 40 lakh years back. This knowledge of Vedic science existed beyond time. It is said here that amongst the trees, there is also an evolutionary process. The different kinds of trees have touch perception. It is said that better than trees are the fish, because fish has developed a sense of taste. Better than fish are the bees, who develop sense of smell. So he's talking about evolution. So from trees, the next evolution of bodies are fish. From fish, the next evolution of bodies are bees. That means all flying objects. And better than that are the serpents, because serpents have developed a sense of hearing. Okay. So they don't have ears, but through the vibrations they can understand. Okay. In the darkness of night, a snake can find it eatable simply by hearing frogs' very pleasant cry. The snake can understand there is a frog, and he captures the frog simply because of its sound vibration. This is an example sometimes given for a person who vibrates sound simply for death. One may have a very nice tongue that can vibrate like frogs, but the kind of vibration is simply calling death. So the best usage of tongue and sound vibration is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And that will protect one from the cruelty of death. So he says, use your tongue to chant this mantra and use your ears to hear that. So hearing the name of the Lord, the name, qualities, antaraj, form of the Lord is more important than anything else. So hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Hear the holy name every day. Make your consciousness evolve faster. Come onto the platform of Satvikam to Shuddha Satvikam and complete the journey of human life. Okay? So that's the summary of Kapila Muni's instruction in terms of how to perfect one's life, beginning with the right method of devotion worship. Okay? So we will just summarize these two sloka reading. Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Savai
Vai pumsam paro dharmo.
Ito bhakti radokshaje.
Ito bhakti
Bhakti-radokshaje.
Ahaituki apratihata.
Ahetuki apratihata.
Yayatma suprasidati.
Yatma suprasidati.
So you can practice the sloka at home, mug it up. Okay. 3.29.16. Madhishnya darshana sparsha.
Madhishna darshana sparsha.
Sparsha.
Puja stuti abhivandanai.
Puja stuti abhivandanai.
Abhivandanam.
Bhuteshu madbhavanaya.
Bhuteshu madbhavanaya.
Bhavanaya.
Satvena sangamena cha.
Satvena sangamena cha.
Okay. So Satvena Sangamena Cha, mode of goodness without any attachment. Right? And that is the mood of worship. Okay. Any last questions? Otherwise, we'll end the class. Okay, good. So please mug up these slokas. They are very easy slokas, not difficult. Mug them up. Know the meaning, why the sloka means, and then offer as prayers to the Lord. Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. We'll meet you again next Saturday. And mostly next Saturday, we will begin with Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, but I'll reconfirm whether it's next Saturday or week after next Saturday. Okay. Thank you. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम तत्सत। हरे
Thanks, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavata Pranam.
हरे कृष्णा धन्यवाद।
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Dandat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare
धन्यवाद।
Krishna, Dadavat Pranam Prabhu.
हरे
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा।
Krishna Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा धन्यवाद।